is basically requires three things. And I will go over to each of the three component, and that way you can able to set up a synchronous classroom for your students. So just brief online teaching experience I had in this direction is I have listed here, but let's skip this and move on to the outline of the talk. Uh, um, So basically teaching methodology I will cover, and I will also discuss the teaching challenges in the transitioning. Face to face we are not discussing in this there. So components of online instruction. So as we discussed in the SOP, one can create a course homepage, or an LMS can use an LMS such as Google Classroom. But there are a lot of advantages of using Google Classroom because everything is in one place. We can take assignments from the students, they can upload that, and everything is there in a one place. That is the reason we Google Classroom is the component of the online instruction. Electronic assessment, as we are discussing, open book exam, which is for a fixed time period, that can be an electronic assessment. Quizzes can be electronic assessment. Viva voices, presentations, online quizzes, video quizzes. So all these will be an electronic assessment, which is a component of online. LMS means Learning Management System. Learning Management System is Google Classroom, which we will be using for this. Audio is not there. Can you all hear me or not?
I'm able to hear, but I think some members may be having some network problem.
From there.
Okay.
Able to hear.
Yes.
Okay, thanks. So then written homeworks are the part of the online instruction component, which we can, as an assignments, we can give to students, and they can upload the scanned work. We can once we have a synchronous session, we can record that session and post it for the students together with the notes. Video quizzes, we will discuss elaborately in the upcoming sessions. Discussion board in the Google Classroom, that's one very important tool in an online instruction, because when we are not teaching students that time, where they will pose the questions. So discussion board, we have to maintain a discussion board. It can be in the Google Classroom. Some of the faculty members prefer to have in Google Classroom itself. And in the mathematics, we had this problem of writing math in the chat. So Piazza can be used as a discussion board. Then we can have, as Professor Chaudhary suggested, we can have online, but this is, since students are not there on the campus, we can only have online office hours for the students. We can have online live meetings, which is basically the synchronous sessions, and we can have proctored exams. So this all components all together creates an online course. So basically, what is the teaching philosophy in that direction is, we have online meeting with the students, question answer session during the live meetings. We post the notes and the recording after the session for the students who have a bandwidth. They can come. Those who cannot come, they can access the recording and the notes and can follow up through the session. We can have discussion board where they can write the questions, reading, examples, electronic assessment, and written assignment assessment, and this chain basically moves on. So this is how the teaching methodology for the 30 minutes, first 30 minutes session I am talking about. The next 30 minutes, which is interaction, that is basically we all have to be more creative in our own ways, that we can have, when we are giving a video, we can create questions within the video and ask the students to answer those questions. We can have so-called presentations of a students on whatever video we have posted. Can you present and explain what you are understanding? We can have a short exam and then ask them Viva voice. Through Viva voice, we can ask them whether what they are understanding and how they are answering the questions. So that is all interaction part. But synchronous part, this middle section will be working in the synchronous part. So what happens during the live session? Instructor, there are three things. Instructor will share the view of their screen and use the pen tablet to write on that view. Now that view itself will have a software open in it, such as PDF annotator or a writing software, whichever you have on your computer, and you can write on that PDF annotator, and you can share your view of the screen with the students using WebEx or a Google Meet platform. Then students can use the chat box to ask questions. So students will be, if it's a large class, students can use chat box. If it's a small class, you can enable you can ask them to unmute themselves and ask the question. That is also possible. And mainly instructor make use of voice inflection and pen color to explain the concepts, and in between ask question and make it so engaging for the student that it appears as similar, virtually similar. I would not say exactly same, but close to the face-to-face environment. So and then later on post the video and notes for their reference. That's very important because not all of your students will able to attend the synchronous lectures as well. So in that scenario, you can post it for others for the reference. So so what is synchronous? Again, so I will give a glimpse of an online classroom. This is a course which I recently taught at IITJ using WebEx, and this is a PDF annotator which is on the slide. And I basically, what I did is I took a snapshot from an ebook explaining these norms, and I pasted on that, and I melted the annotations, which I will explain very soon how I put this piece here. And then I started writing with pen tablets over that diagram and explaining that each of these images. So this is a view of my screen which is being shared. And on the top WebEx portal, you can see for the recording, for sharing, for stop sharing and all that, annotate and all this thing you are noticing at the top. And on the left, you are seeing the students answering the question. So one student asks, why rhombus? It should be a circle. So then explaining the concept to the student, no, it's rhombus only, and this is a reason why it's a rhombus. So basically, in the snapshot, I hided the name of the students for the privacy point of view, but this is how the chat room looks like, and this is how do we have a PDF annotator. So PDF annotator, what about it, Suman?
We don't have PDF annotator, so you have to explore the option of purchasing that from CPDA.
Right.
Yeah, you have to explore the option of purchasing that to CPDA. So we don't have a PDF annotator. Is my voice is breaking, Minu?
No, that is from their end.
From their end. Okay. Okay. So
I'm just intervening here. These requirements, I think you should note it down. The PDF annotated, etc., we should be noted down. And faculty need not pay from the CPDA. We can see how we can centrally procure and make it available, whatever is possible, viable. So we should note down these requirements.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, trial version is only for 30 days, so it might have expired. So
There are other alternatives also for other.
Yeah, so PDF annotated. So this is a glimpse of an online classroom. So in this class there was 130 students, and the chat was, when we share slides in the Google Classroom, the yes, we will discuss that.
Yeah, I thought probably it is not clear the question, so I thought maybe I should say. Actually, I tried this in Google Classroom, but the screen what you are sharing, I haven't seen that. Probably some settings you can share, which is I have missed. So I thought probably you can share. Okay.
So I am so I am basically, I just copy pasted the snapshot of a classroom on a PDF annotator, and I melted that, and it's just a glimpse of the classroom which I have. I am not like sharing the exactly the classroom. So I maybe I haven't understood the question. So
So,
what
So
is
Pankaj,
the
he's asking about Google Meet. You are taking the class on WebEx, right? So you have shared a PDF and that screenshot you have taken. But what happens in Google Meet is when we are sharing anything in full screen, we are not able to see the chat box or the Meet window. So we will talk about that when we will come to the extensions. We will talk
okay,
about how
okay,
what settings you can do to see the chat box as well
okay,
as the screen.
okay.
okay. That's a good question. Yeah. So then synchronous learning environment. So this is some analysis which I recently did. What happens when we teach the students or impart the information, not teach in the sense that we are just brute forcefully, we are just imparting the content, but when we are making an interactive session with them and trying to ask the questions, pausing every moment and see whether they are understanding the concept or not, that time I noticed that the response of, I analyzed the chat, all the chats which I had in the all my 14 sessions, and I noticed the response to the question was 65% in the synchronous learning environment. And social statements like good morning and those type of statements were 9%, and questions about homework 3%, and question about lecture 5%, but response to the question which instructor is asking is 65%. So we can make them, we can engage them by asking question in the synchronous environment. And I would type a link in the chat, and you can see how exactly the synchronous classroom look like. So you can explore, you can click on this link. I am not able to press it. Just 1 second. Yeah, so this is a link. If you play this link, you will see how a classroom can be in a synchronous environment. So maybe 2 minutes, just I'll pause here for 2 minutes, and you can see how writing part, how asking questions in between to the students, and those things are being done. Sure, Deepak ji. I will add this link as well to the SOP. So like as you're noticing, I am presenting at the same time I am making. So audio is there now? I think Suman muted it. while going there. So what I'm saying is that in synchronous sessions, it is important that how I am writing, I will get to it. Synchronous sessions, we have to be very careful in the students' questions coming. So right now you are posing a questions or you are posing your comments, and I am seeing that very in the real time. I am not like once my session is finished, then I will see what you are typing. So this should be there in the synchronous sessions. So how I am writing? Let's get to that question. So I will open and so I will be using PDF annotator to write, and I think this is the vacuum tablet. If you can see in the boardroom, this is the tablet I will use to write. By connecting this USB cable in the computer, and I will write using this pen. What is the duration of your lecture? So usually, as per the guidelines which we have discussed today, 30 minutes is so not more than 30 minutes will be the synchronous session, so that this connectivity issue and how when the recording will be there, it will not be huge, and those type of things will be will not be a problem then in that case. So basically duration of the session will be 30 minutes. How to use vacuum tablet, pen tablet. So basically while using vacuum tablet, the most important point is you don't see at the vacuum when you are writing. You see the cursor on your screen and then you write accordingly. So for example, so this is some kind of which I cannot explain in just this online mode of session. But suppose if I connect my vacuum tablet and I go to the, so let me open. Yeah, I will share that. Once it is opened, then I will share the screen. So this is the layout of PDF annotator. So in this, I can take a snipping tool. I can take a snapshot of a picture from a ebook and I can paste it here. I can paste questions here. And if I'm writing, as you can see the arrow, this is my cursor. And I can write using this arrow whatever is required. So like this, we can write. And while I am writing, I am not seeing at my vacuum. I am seeing on the screen. Exactly. I don't see my hand and pen, but I see the screen, and where my cursor is going, I try to play around with that and try to write it using that. Okay. So so this is there. I will get to this annotator in very soon, but let me go back to my presentation. So let me share. Okay, it's already shared in the shared mode. So we can use it as a mouse also. The vacuum tablet, we can use it as a mouse also, and we can sign the documents. That's kind of something simple thing, but that is also possible. Anyway, so these are the things which we can do. So tools which we are having for posting the platforms, 3 things important. Google Classroom for posting the content, writing PDF annotator, or ink space is there, which is, I think, Raj Lakshmi will be explaining this. Moodle is there, but as we suggested Google Classroom, we will stick to Google Classroom. Then screen sharing will be done through Google Meet or WebEx. And from these 2 software only you can record it. Now the reason I kept this recording screen is because if suppose offline when you are not teaching synchronously and if you want to record a video, that time you can use Screencastify or Camtasia for recording the screen, but otherwise Google Meet and WebEx will be good for recording the synchronous sessions. So what are the challenges? Screencastify is free, Camtasia is not free.
Screencastify, on some limited features are there in the free version, like 5 minutes recording, but for longer recording you need to get a premium version, which is I think just $20 teaching license.
Okay, and what about the screen recorder? That is free, right?
Yes, screen recorder apps. There are a few other apps which I'll be showing.
Yeah, sure.
$20 per year. But there are free screen recorder apps as well, extensions as well, which we will be discussing.
This is like offline videos, but one can make offline videos also from Google Meet itself, actually, when no student is there. And you can record by yourself and create an offline video. That is also possible. So, so short videos we can make through Google Meet. Okay, so what are the challenges? Capturing attention of a student, that is one challenge. Another is student frustration in copying the material. And last is how to evaluate their understanding. So I will address how we can come up with the ways by which these challenges can be minimized, and in the sense that these challenges can be overcome, I should say. So these challenges can be overcome. So capturing attention of a student is always a very big challenge even in the online synchronous sessions, and that is the where we have to keep them active throughout the session. So how we can keep them active throughout the session is by creating randomly pop quizzes in Google Forms. So we can create short questions which, suppose say 5 minutes you spoke about something, 5 or 10 minutes you have explained some concept. You pose a question from that concept through the Google Forms, give them the link in the chat and ask them to answer that particular question. They have to listen what you were saying in the past 10 minutes and then they will be answering it. Another thing which you can do is that you can, whenever you are explaining, you keep asking the question. Now you can come up with this that maybe some students are participating but some are not. And that happens even in face-to-face class also. Not everybody is participating in face-to-face class as well. But synchronous sessions, we can ask them to do this pop quizzes, MCQ quizzes, and those things are there. What can you do in asynchronous? Can you do it as for asynchronous teaching? So maybe I haven't understand the question. So can you explain it, please? Dr. Shushmita?
Yes, Vandana, I was asking if we can incorporate pop-up question.
Yes, I can listen to you. Yes, I can hear you. It's just a little bit cracking, but still I can hear you. Yeah.
Hello? Hello? So I'm saying that can you
Yes, I can hear you. I can
recording
hear you.
lectures in a synchronous mode?
Okay, so yes, in asynchronous mode, like it would not be then in that case, in a real time you are assessing the student understanding. In that case, it will be okay. You have created a quiz or questions in a Google form, and you have given a student a link and asked the student in this particular time, please complete it. So that is possible asynchronously. But what I am saying is that during the synchronous session, you assess their knowledge using some MCQs right in the session. Basically, keep them on their toes so that they are listening to what you are saying, and give some weightage in the continuous evaluation for those quizzes which are in the sessions. So that way they will say, it will be like we are respecting their participation, and at the same time we are giving credit to them by um, for the credit to them for their participation. So asking questions is a key in synchronous. Online offline office package for Microsoft comes with an annotator. Okay, sure. So this is how we can overcome the challenges in the frustration. Copying we will discuss Turnitin by the by will be presented by Dr. Keshma. So that will explain the how we can detect the plagiarism and all those things. And regarding the evaluate their understanding, this covers how we are evaluating their understanding. I have one PPT to show at the same time. I want to write on a board. How can I do it? Is it possible? So you will convert your PPT in a PDF. Once your PPT is converted in a PDF, you can open that PDF on the PDF in the PDF annotator. And then you can write on that PPT while presenting to the students. Does this answer your question, Professor Venkatesh? Oh, you have a PPT and you want to write on the board. Yes, PPT. This is PPT only. So, for example, let me share my entire screen and show you that how I created a PPT which I converted into PDF, and then I opened that PDF in the PDF annotator, and I can annotate
Professor
using the
Venkateshan?
vacuum tablet.
Professor Venkateshan, are you talking about a separate PowerPoint and a blackboard or a whiteboard, like a separate physical whiteboard? Are you asking about switching between those two? Yes, so that should also be possible. Yes, that is possible. That I'll show you how you can use your cell phone camera as well, and we can switch between, we can cast our cell phone feed onto the browser, and then you can switch while you're sharing screen, you'll be able to switch between the camera feed and your PowerPoint.
Yes,
And
it is.
even on
Yes, it is.
PowerPoint file, without converting to PDF, it is possible to use the pen tool and write directly on PPT. Like PowerPoint file, it is possible.
तो Tuesday आने का क्या था वो?
OneNote we can use, right?
No,
In that case.
in normal PowerPoint slides, we should be able to use Wacom tablet.
In Windows,
Yes.
This is also one good question, that we lose animation while converting PPT to PDF. That is true, and in that case, the way I have to switch from my sharing screen from one to another, we can give a presentation and then we can share the animation in the PPT. That is also possible. But you are right that we lose, because that is the reason we have to sometimes switch from one mode to another mode while presenting. So, but that's a good point.
So if somebody wants to use PowerPoint slides, they can use Wacom directly on PowerPoint slides as well as a pen tool.
इसका सब इंस्टॉलेशन का सब वीडियो निकला
Okay, so
वीडियो बना करके तो तुम्हारे बाद कोई काम करना चाहें हेमंत नहीं काम करेगा इसको
like
कंचन
a
काम
split
करेगा
screen can we have?
कंचन को इन्फॉर्म करो
Split screen.
और उसका वीडियो भी निकालो मैं देखूंगा खुद
Maybe we have
कल आ रहा है
to.
क्या
Somebody's mic has been left on.
बोलो
Hello. Hi. Am I audible? Can I ask a question? Hello.
छोड़ो ड्रामा कोविड में खुद ही ड्रामा लगता है
I think please mute Gafur ji's side.
कर रहे हैं
Please mute Gafur ji.
कोविड-19 आके कितने दिन हुए साल हुआ 8 मंथ यहाँ हुआ ग्लोबल लेवल में
Suman, can you please mute Gafur ji?
क्या इसमें एक्टिविटी कोविड-19 का जो वायरस है वो खुद ही कमजोर हो यहाँ पे जनरल प्रोसेस है कोई भी वायरस आता है उसका इम्पैक्ट दिखाता है और ह्यूमन सिस्टम ही ऐसा है कि जब यहाँ 10 आदमी को या 1000 आदमी बांटेगा फिर उसमें से इम्यूनिटी भी डेवलप होगा
Presenting comes in the video recording. So as I gave the link of the video, in that you can see the writing part, you can see the voice, you can hear the voice, and you can see the participants chatting. Even though that is not that clear, but still it's visible in that YouTube video. So that is the involvement of the synchronous online classroom. So yes, the answer is yes for this question. Does the writing using vacuum while using PPT presentation gets into the recording?
I have a little longer question. Can I ask it? I'm sorry, I have to use the. Yes. Okay. Thanks. So actually, when we are using LMS, like something like Google Classrooms, what happens is that sometimes we have to share a chapter with the students, or from a particular text or from a particular book, right? Like from any book, maybe one chapter from one book, other chapter from other book. Yeah. Now the thing is, when we share this book on an LMS, do we have to use like a proper, like like if we use like for example a pirated version of the book, that will there be copyright issues? Will there be some legal issues? Because sometimes you have to use different books when you are using, and you have to share those with students, right? So do we have to go ahead and always buy those books before we share it with students, or will there be some? What will be the legal or the issues in this, and what will be the copyright issues in this? Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I think now we move to the next topic, and so useful tools for online teaching and video lecture creation. So Dr. Vandana Sharma again will elaborate on tools for PDF annotation, and I request Dr. Vandana to start the session.
Professor Shamnath, before
Yes.
you move on to this next topic, regarding this copyright issue, I think we have got Mr. Professor Dr. Prabhuda Ganguly as an expert, associated, and
Right.
he has been advising IIT Bombay also for many years. So I think it's better to take this view because they're very, very sensitive issues. What can we use?
Okay, sure.
Yeah,
Sure,
yeah,
sure, sure.
yeah.
We'll be in touch with him.
Right,
Yes,
right.
sure, sure.
What is
Thank you.
Somnath, hello.
Yes.
Regarding this legal issue, what I think Prasanjit raised, fine. See,
Yes.
one way is like suppose you are using 2-3 books, so it is possible that you can get resources associated with that book from the publisher. In that case, you are allowed to use for all resources. They will give you all the figures. They will also give you some slides, and under the license that you can use for educational purpose. No commercial usage is allowed, but I think all figures can be used for educational purpose. So that question of copyright may not occur because as part of copyright, certain things are allowed to be used for educational purpose. That's what we get, like all the resources, because every book normally has certain resources. So in that resources, one of the things is all the image file of the book, like all the images which are there in that book, you can reuse it in some your slides, or it can be used for any other purpose, for educational purpose only. So I think that way, if someone goes, then that may not be a major issue in using part of a book in terms of image or slides which are given with the book. You can modify also those slides. So it's
So
like
you mean
going around the problem rather than directly addressing the problem. But I think that way one can use it. That's what I wanted to say.
right. Okay, sure.
Yeah, we can discuss the library. Yeah.
Okay, we'll start.